My talk is on a device that I developed called VisionAIry, and I wanted to show how not just using my device, but how anybody could really use AI in this new landscape that we're in to develop things that will create more accessibility. A lot of people seem to think that AI will be causing a bigger wage gap, as it may be reducing jobs that otherwise could be autonomized. But I'm a firm believer in the fact that AI can actually bring people closer together and allow for more opportunities for people who otherwise would not be able to do work or have jobs without AI solutions. Before that, a little bit about myself. I'm a high school student at Evergreen Valley High School and I'm a junior. I don't really have any deep technical background. I haven't taken any super complicated software classes. I'm kind of self-taught, and especially as new tools like ChatGPT have come out, I think you can really teach yourself how to build things, and you don't need to rely as much on, say, getting a degree or doing a course. So I do dirt biking, I do mountain biking, I like sports a lot, and a lot of my friends don't really understand AI or how to use it and how many things it can help you do. So I kind of took it in a different way, and I decided that I wanted to try and use it to help me and my friends develop new things. So 2 examples of those things are, we made an AI-backed sports betting website where you can use AI to pick bets for you to make, and it turned out to be highly profitable. And we made a website to allow people to find places to find better Tesla chargers. So those are just 2 examples, and the next thing that I started to develop and started to think about was, there's a group of kids in my school who are visually impaired, and they're kind of always in their own cohort and not really exposed to the other students. And I started getting close to one of them because they were in my computer science class, and I learned that there was a huge gap in between how much they traditionally make, the visually impaired students, their parents. Their wages have actually stayed, as you can see by the graph, relatively the same, but the cost of tools that they use to aid them in their day-to-day life, as in the different accessibility tools, they use different types of glasses that can explain to them what's around them. The prices of those tools have gone up exponentially. So I decided that me and my friends, we were going to come together and try to make something that could bridge that gap. This is the device that we started with. It was basically all it took was, it's a 3D printed case around a Raspberry Pi Zero, and we have a speaker and a camera on it, and all we had to do was basically put these 2 together and then use a software called AutoCAD, in which we designed the case around it, and we allowed it to be super lightweight and wearable so that any visually impaired person could use it. And it basically utilizes the camera module on the top, and it sends that camera through the OpenAI Vision API, and it gives you back a response based off of, you can ask it questions and it'll respond to you. And the thing that's really unique about this is it didn't require a lot of code. It actually only took maybe an hour to make, and these types of solutions can really be implemented in so many different spaces, where if we all work together, we can really create things that can help people that are, we can help to allow people that are disabled or have other types of disabilities to work together and allow that gap to be bridged. So specifically, I did work with a blind rehabilitation center called Vista Center in San Jose, and I worked with 3 different visually impaired people in order to get feedback on the device and really hear about their experiences. And I learned a lot from this. I went from, at the start, wanting to make a product that I could potentially sell and profit off of by mass manufacturing it and getting investors. But I learned that a lot of these people have been struggling for a long time, and the wages actually from COVID and from the job market being extremely competitive, they kind of don't have the same amount of resources as other people do. So I decided to instead crowdfund more examples and give them out to other visually impaired people. And I found that I received a lot of donations and that people are really willing to share their money in order to help other people. So I decided to open source the entire project, and I created a series of instructions and tutorials that could teach the visually impaired people and their families to kind of create these devices on their own, rather than the extreme price markup that would have had to have been made in order for this device to be like mass manufactured and be able to be shipped out to people individually. But I think this all kind of ties into the growth of AI accessibility and how it they can kind of come together. And over the years, as you can see, like, I'm a high school student and I was able to develop something this simple, but it could have such a big impact outside of just my own circle. And I think that's really promising to show that people like anybody in this room could develop something that could do just as great things as me, because we all kind of come from the same background. So I think it kind of shows how we can all come together and really develop something great. I think AI, if it's being used put in the wrong hands and it's not being used as a community, then it can really cause damaging impacts, because I think in the growing world, people need to be more aware of AI, how it can help you develop things, and how it can teach you things. And it should not be used in a way that scares people off and kind of makes people less want to use it, because I think that would create a more real gap between the people who can be successful in the coming world and people who will be stuck behind. This graph is basically just showing the percent of visually impaired people who end up getting a college and high school degree. And over the past years, it's had a significant downtrend. And I think that this solution in particular is one example of how AI can help in accessibilitizing blind people into getting more degrees and getting better jobs, because things like my solution can allow them to work better with other people. In this graph, you can see how visually impaired people have gotten significantly less jobs recently, and I think that really is a negative thing, because I think AI should actually be increasing the amount of jobs they get rather than reducing it, because of solutions like mine that can allow them to interact with other people without relying just on their own physical self, but the AI side of it. They could have an AI assistant, and that could help them really bridge that gap. But unfortunately, in the future, this is going to be a really hard and long path. As I said, the main way that we can all kind of come together and help this for everybody is if we all work together and realize that it's not as complicated as you may think. To create new ideas using AI is really as simple as asking questions and getting feedback and working together. I wouldn't have been able to do this without the help of all of my friends, but at the end of the day, it wasn't a super technical thing, yet it could have such a big impact in the future, and we've already helped multiple people within my community, within the Vista Center, to allow them to have jobs and compete better in the job environment that we're in today. So finally, to close, I just wanted to say that the point of this entire talk was to encourage people to be visionaries, encourage people to utilize AI to bridge the gap, and not only use it for your own personal benefit, but realize that it can help so many other people and bring the world together. Thank you.